The Buffalo Bills just flipped the script, and this week one matchup against the Ravens is going to be a big test. We know that the game of football isn't won with just one big catch or one big run. They're decided play in and play out in the dirt and in the trenches. It's not just any battle that we're going up against. It's Derrick Henry and it's Lamar Jackson. It's a massive offensive line that's coming in, trying to bulldoze our defensive line around. But here's the thing, the last 2 years especially, the Buffalo Bills have been building for this kind of moment. They've been taking the blueprint of Philly and trying to use it as our own. So here's the real question. Did the blueprint work? Today, that is what we are going to try to find out. But hey, welcome to Crack the Table. My name is Colin. We are all Bills, no breaks. Today, we are going to be reviewing our defensive line versus the offensive line of the Ravens. And if you get any value out of any of these sort of breakdowns that we're doing each and every day, or if you're just a diehard Bills fan and you love getting excited at the beginning of the year for this team and this city, then hey, I just welcome you to join our community. Every single day we are growing, and every single day we're chatting down in the comments about Bills football. And you, whether you've been a fan for 5 years, whether you've been a fan your whole life, there's just some awesome people in this community that are across the globe. Bills Mafia is insane, and we just want to welcome you to be a part of this little community that we're growing. You're welcome to join the conversation. Go Bills. But hey, let's get right into this breakdown here. And the first thing I want to talk about is over the last 2 years, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, honestly, they went full Philly, right? They copied a lot of the Eagles playbook around the drafting and around roster construction. They were building in the trenches, rotating bodies, and wanting to overwhelm opponents. That's why a guy like Joey Bosa is in Buffalo. We needed that pass rush, of course, but we needed that elite player on the outside that is going to win one-on-one with his technical ability. And that's why we also added guys like Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hoyt and drafted a monster like Deion Walker, who's 6'6", 340, clogging lanes like a brick wall, right? The dancing bear. And the heart of it all, we've got Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, right? And Ed Oliver, even in the last year, 8.5 sacks, explosive off the snap. And this line was built to be the ones who bulldoze the offensive line, not vice versa, right? But with that, we know that adversity is hit, right? We know that Dwayne Carter, who had some promising depth, who's a promising depth piece on a rotational basis, he's out for the season with the Achilles injury, right? Hoyt and Ogunjobi, they're suspended week 1. They're suspended all the way really until week 7 after our bye, and that's a punch to the gut. But McDermott's response, which he said this, real concern, but solution oriented. In other words, there is no excuses for a lack of consistency up front, and so the spotlight needs to shift away from our suspended players, away from our injured players, to the next man up, to Walker, the rookie giant, to a guy potentially like Jordan Phillips if he's pulled up from the practice squad, or a rotational guy, even as a guy like TJ Sanders, who I think is just absolutely going to break out this year and is hungry for reps. And again, that's the Bills' identity. They are hungry hippos, right? No, hungry for the next man up to get in there and to play and to excel. But here's where some of the, I think the matchups matter. We know the Ravens offense. We know that they were an incredible unit even the last couple years, but going into 2025, right? A top 5 offense and defense and special teams, number 1 in DVOA in the last 2 years. They are a very, very good team. They are a consistent team, but they are a running team, right? But the matchups we're going to see on Sunday night are going to be Ed Oliver versus Tyler Linderbaum. This is like the lightning versus the anchor. Oliver's first step is among the fastest in the defensive line or the defensive tackle in the entire NFL, but Linderbaum is one of the strongest centers and youngest centers in the NFL, and there's something that is going to have to give. And I think this matchup is actually going to dictate a lot of this game more than we think. But Bills Mafia, who do you trust? Do you trust Ed Oliver to go against the center, Tyler Linderbaum? But another matchup that we're going to see is Greg Rousseau versus Roger Rosegarden, right? Rousseau's length and his discipline against this guy and against this right tackle is also another place where I think Buffalo Buffalo has to win. We've got to get Lamar Jackson off his step. We've got to get him scrambling, hopefully contained by our linebackers and our defensive ends. But another matchup, Joey Bosa versus Ronnie Stanley. Pro Bowler versus Pro Bowler. Heavyweight contender versus heavyweight contender. A clash of titans, if you will. A big clash on the edge. Joey Bosa has got to prove that he was worth his contract, that he will remain healthy, and that he will play hard. But again, guys like Walker and Daquan Jones versus Derrick Henry. Can Derrick Henry run up the middle of the line, or is Walker and Daquan Jones on a rotational basis going to plug up the lanes? In other words, is the wall going to hold against King Henry? We've seen King Henry run and bulldoze some amazing defensive lines and just break free. He's an aging player, but he doesn't seem to be slowing down. The Bills, though, have been building so that this sort of play never happens. But again, the Ravens offense is just consistent. They were built different as well. In 2024, they ran the ball 52% of the time, which was second in the NFL. And that's not just a tendency. That's a religious way of playing football. That's lifestyle for them, right? Henry nearly hit 2,000 yards again, right? Lamar's RPOs lead us into chaos, and their line with Stanley, Linderbaum, Falele, and Rose Gardner ranked top 5 in run blocking. This is a tremendous unit, but they won't hide. They won't even need to hide or disguise what they're trying to do. They are just coming in, and they are going to run the ball, and they dare us to stop it. But a guy like Todd Monken, their offensive coordinator, is regarded as one of the current best play callers in the NFL. His pistol looks, his RPOs, they punish any level of hesitation. And I think that's where Bobby Babich comes in for calling players for the defense this year, or for calling plays for the defense this year. He's young, he's aggressive, he's not afraid to be creative, which he shouldn't be. Think of it this way: Baltimore's offense wants to play checkers. They're coming in, they're telling us their playbook, they're telling us their moves, but Bobby Babich, I think, wants to play chess. Bobby is going to come in, he's going to move pieces around, he's going to hide what's really coming, and he's going to wait for the perfect time to strike with stunts and with blitzes, right? And when I say even like Bobby Babich wants to disguise looks, it just means that at some point, if you're a little unfamiliar with some of these terms, that he is going to try to pretend one look, and he's gonna show one thing, but he's actually gonna do another, like showing you a smile but really pulling a prank behind your back. Blitzes are surprise attacks that he can send from any which way to get after the quarterback and to get behind the line of scrimmage. But also stunts are when two big guys at the last second shift and move, and they confuse blockers in front of them, and they ultimately get after the quarterback because the offensive line hesitates, not our defensive line. So this looks like chaos on TV, but it's ultimately a strategy that Bobby Babich, I think, is going to employ. And the Bills want Lamar Jackson and Henry to hesitate for just a second, because if we can hesitate for just a second, that means Rousseau and Bosa will get behind the line and get the sacks when it comes time. But hey, last fall, we were embarrassed. Henry went wild, 200 yards, and the Ravens crushed us. But the snow fell in January, and everything flipped. The same Ravens, same superstars, but this time it was the Bills who forced the plays. It was them who flipped the script. They bottled up Henry. They stole the win in 2 games, 2 completely different teams apparently, yet which one on Sunday night will show up for week 1, Sunday Night Football against the Ravens? That story is yet to be written. But this Buffalo team has been building this for years, right? Suspensions, injuries, that's just part of the story. Get the blueprint of this roster down. We've been building in the trenches, and we are ready for it. We were built for this moment. We were built for Baltimore, and we've built with depth for January so that this defensive line, even this front 7 broadly, will play well and will play well deep into the season regardless of injuries. The trenches will tell the story, and Buffalo is ready to write it. But hey, my name's Colin. This is Crack the Table. This is just another Bills breakdown ahead of this season, ahead of this week 1 matchup. If you found any level of value from this video, from this connection point here, this conversational starter, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, join us. Leave your comment below. Do you think Ed Oliver is going to win his matchup this week against Tyler Linderbaum? What do you think needs to happen from our defensive line in order that we might win this game? See ya.